Hello, hello. We are back
From outer
from
space.
the space. It feels good to be back, actually. Like, it's been a while.
Right? It
Yeah,
has. I think
yeah.
October, spooky
Did us
holidays. Where,
in.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you in with work, did me in with like celebrations. And now this month, for any of you who don't know, November is NaNoWriMo. So
Yes. So all the writing, all the words.
yes, so I've been trying to do that. I think I've got like 1,200 words written altogether this month. So not really something to get up and champion, but still I'm trudging along.
Every word counts. Every word
Exactly,
counts.
every word. I can't every comma counts. Like it's
Every comic.
all there. But we are here today to talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, season 1,
Do, 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 do,
episode 1.
do.
Because we have previously reviewed all of season 1, and then we reviewed all of season 2 and gave kind of like our generalized feelings on it and
Mhm.
a recap of it. So now we're going to go episode by episode to give our real in-depth thoughts
On Buffy.
on Buffy. So welcome to the Hellmouth. I guess we'll give a quick little recap of it. Buffy comes to Sunnydale, which is where everything starts, everything begins. She's already a vampire
Hero.
slayer, so I was happy about that. And there she meets Giles, who's her new watcher, basically like guides her through slaying vampires. And she meets the Scooby Gang, which is Willow and Xander.
Mhm.
Meets Angel for the first time this episode. Oh,
Green lover, come rescue me.
Angel. And basically it's just like her just kind of being introduced to Sunnydale and introduced to all the main characters and the one big vampire guy. Oh God, I forget his name.
Master?
No, not the although we meet the Master, which is the main villain of season 1.
Yeah.
Main bad vampire. But no, the guy who Luke, the Master's sort of like main
The
henchman.
Bruja, right?
The
Can we be
Bruja
nice?
guy. Yeah, the Bruja guy.
Yeah, Bruja.
So introduced to him, and the episode kind of ends with her and Luke fighting, and it looks like he's about to bite her, and then bloop, cuts to be continued. So that's the first episode. Yeah. And as first episodes go, honestly, I loved it. I loved it so much.
Oh yeah, me too. You know, I really like the way they set up Buffy as the main hero.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because she's just so likable.
She's likable, and she's like, I like that she's kind of like the every girl, but also, you know, she has her own personality too. And you can tell that she like doesn't really want, I mean, you can tell because she says it, that she does not want to be a slayer and she doesn't want this life for herself, and she's kind of just dragged into it. And I would say reluctantly, but she gets dragged into it pretty easily. Like, she's not as reluctant as she says she is. And
Yeah,
I
but I
like
do like that there is a reluctance, that they set up a past, like my past school, I got in a lot of trouble, like I don't want to do this anymore. And then the fact that she kind of gets welcomed by Cordelia, and so she has this
I forgot to
opportunity,
mention that.
yeah, to be in a clique, in the cool group with
Mhm.
the cheerleaders and all of that. And you can kind of see her leaning towards that. But then once Cordelia is mean to Willow,
Mhm.
Buffy's just out. She's like, no. And so she makes it a
Yeah.
point to talk to Willow and to befriend her instead, which I think
Mhm.
really makes you like Buffy. Because, you
Yeah,
know,
I think she would still
she's
be.
beautiful, she's strong, she could easily be a jerk, you know, but
Yeah.
she's not.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think she'd still be, like, friends with Cordelia, because I think she still wants to be in that group, but, be in
Mhm.
that group while also being herself, which is a nice person. Like, yeah, we can still be friends, but I'm gonna obviously talk to this girl because, you
Right.
know, I'm not a cretin of a human being, and that's just who I am.
Mhm.
And then it's not till she actually accidentally attacks Cordelia with a
With a
stake.
stake.
And Cordelia like writes her off as, you know, this sort of like crazy stake wielding psychopath that
Yeah.
that relationship's done.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but yeah, I do love that she was nice to Willow. And when she saw Willow, they went to the Bronze, which is the big club at Sunnydale, and she immediately saw Willow and went over to her and was just like super friendly. And Willow, who is just adorable in the first season, I love her so much in the
Oh,
first
yeah.
season.
I love timid, intelligent,
Yeah, she's
like,
like timid and
my
shy.
favorite version of Willow. It's just,
Yeah,
like,
she basically even tells Buffy like,
quirky
you
because
don't
she's
have
so
to hang out with
relatable,
me.
you know?
She's so cute. Like she's the kind of friend you want, you know? She's got this like
Mhm.
sweetness and this loyalty, and I love first season Willow so much. Um
Yeah, and she's brave when she needs to be, you know? It's like,
yes. Yeah. And
yeah.
in this episode, I'm not going to go into my feelings about him in an overall arc, but in this episode I really liked Xander too.
Me
Um
too. He was
yeah,
Xander at his best.
it was Xander at his best. He was funny, he was brave, he and the way he found out, like, they ran into each other and he's, this becomes this, like, sort of bumbling fool because he's, like, finds her so pretty, and,
Mhm.
he sees her steak, and then he returns it to her, and overhears in the library, basically, her telling Giles about this whole Slayer thing, so that's how he kind of finds out, and at first he thinks she's just kind of, maybe she's a little delusional, maybe she's this.
Right.
Yeah, and still he doesn't really hold it against her.
I know.
But then quickly realizes that, oh, she's not delusional, she's actually a slayer, there are vampires.
Right. Welcome
And
to
I
the
like that
Hellmouth.
too, I liked how quick it was, like, I like that they just sort of dropped everyone in to the story around them right away. Like, there are vampires, she's the slayer, now you're part of it, it's not some
And love
drawn out.
interests right away too. Like, they set
Oh,
up the
yeah.
beginning, and then they set up the main big bad for the
Mhm.
season,
The
and
master.
then yeah, and then, David Boreanaz.
Angel! I mean, I could do a whole
Angel
probably 24-hour chat on just Angel, but
with his pouty little face
oh
and
god.
his, like, brooding, little bit snarky sexiness is just
Yeah, everything
too much.
about him is like the way they first meet, where he's like following her and then she gets the jump on him, she sort of has him like pinned on the ground, and he's like, "Don't worry, I don't bite." I was like, oh, it was
Yes,
just so good.
yes.
It was such a perfect introduction. And of course, she's like hesitant. She's a slayer. She can't just like trust everyone immediately. And here's some guy, good looking guy, but still a guy like stalking her in the dark. And
Mhm,
so it's like this kind of like flirty slash combative way that they have their first meeting.
mhm,
And then the when they leave each other, which I think is like one of the most perfect leavings of introductions to love stories in television history. He gives her that gift, that silver cross that she's always wearing throughout season
mhm.
like 1 and 2. And he's like said something like about being a friend or something, and she's like, "Maybe I don't want a friend." And he's like, "I never said I was yours." And that was
Oh, I never
perfection.
said I was
Writing
yours.
perfection.
Oh, but you are mine forever and
Yes, you're
always.
mine. You're gonna be so much more than my friend. You just watch. Like,
You are gonna be mine, buddy.
yeah, mine forever. But yeah, so I mean, that sunk its claws into me right from the beginning. I didn't even know who this guy was, but I'm like, oh, I want them together. Like, I want them together.
Mhm, mhm. I know, it was just like it felt the stirrings. You know those old '80s movie stirrings where it's like, "Will these 2 end up together?"
Yeah,
It's like
80s,
Princess Bride,
90s,
like, you
like
just want them
yes,
together no
Princess
matter what.
Bride. Yeah, a lot of 80s vibes from that, a lot of 90s vibes. I don't feel
Mhm.
it so much anymore. Like,
Frenchies.
I don't know if that they just don't write love stories as well as they used to,
I
but
know, the magic is gone. There was magic in '80s and '90s movies that I just
there
haven't
was
really
in TV
seen.
shows. I know
Yeah.
it's the introduction, the drawn out love story, the slow burn, but also can't control passion for each other. I mean, that's what I want to see. Come on, my little romantic
Yeah.
heart wants to see that. So thank God we got that with Buffy and Angel when we were younger.
I know. Only so that we could be forever disappointed in real life and reality.
Yeah. Wait, there's no angel? What?
Welcome
What am I
to
to do?
reality. What a horrible place this?
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Right? Reality is the real Hellmouth. Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Oh God, that's deep and a deep, sad. Reality is the
It went a little
Hellmouth.
dark.
But yeah, so we get Angel, and I'm trying to any other character. Well, Giles. We're introduced to Giles
Who
right
I
off.
love. I love Giles.
I love, and I think might be one of my favorite characters
Oh,
of the
yeah.
show. I just love
Mhm.
Giles, and it's funny because when we were younger, it was always like, "Ooh, I feel like Buffy," or "I feel like a little bit of Willow," or "I feel like this," and now I'm like, "Oh, I'm a Giles."
I know, me too.
Really a Giles.
I'm in the library reading and writing.
Yeah. No, yeah, exactly. I've got all my books. I like the smell of them. I get like frustrated with these like stupid teenage antics. Like, why can't we just do the job? Like,
Right? It's funny how you relate to characters differently as you grow, you know, because we grew up with a very strong memory of loving Xander. And then when we
Oh God,
rewatched it
yeah.
as adults, we're like, this guy is a jerk.
Like, what
Like,
happened?
how
I
did
like
that
questioned
happen?
my whole reality. I'm like, was
Yeah,
I
like,
me
but
when
I
I was
thought I
watching it?
remembered him just being this
What's going
funny comic
on?
relief.
Yeah, this goofy funny. I
Yeah.
didn't know he was awful.
I
But
know.
also, like I
Like,
said, I really think because, when we watched it, it was like an episode a week. Sometimes it would go like 2 or 3 weeks
right.
before you watch an episode, so you're
You
not
don't,
really getting.
yeah, when you binge watch it, it's a totally
Yeah,
different
because
experience.
we binge watched it, so it was like we'd do like 1 or 2 episodes a night, and then it's like, oh, like, when you're getting him in rapid fire, you kind of see like all of his problematic behaviors. And you're like, Xander, oh no, you're terrible. At least which we'll talk about in like upcoming episodes, because I think in the beginnings of season 1 he was still really endearing. That's and maybe that's the Xander I remember. Is
Yeah,
season
it's just
1
like
Xander?
he made a first impression and we just kept it. We're like, no
Yeah,
matter
like
what
his very
happens, I
first
will always see you this way.
the very first time we see him, he's like skateboarding, like trying to get to school, like, "Woo, excuse me, sorry, out of the way." And then he sees Buffy, and he's so distracted by her, he like hits into the beam of the railing on the stairs and just like completely biffs it. And you're like, "Oh, ha ha ha, oh Xander," or you don't know his name by then, but you're like, "Oh, poor boy." So you're kind of introduced to him that way, and sorry, my phone's going off. But yeah, so I just I'll try to remember it as season 1 Xander when I think about things, because
just keep him in your forever view.
Yeah, because season 2 Xander was just trash, in my opinion.
Such a shame. Sorry for all you Xander lovers out there.
Yes, I'm sorry if you're a Xander lover. Hey, we loved him in season 1. We were with you in season 1.
I think because he's so anti Buffy and Angel, and we're so pro that love story that
But it's like also the way he like treats Cordelia and just treats kind of women in general.
With other girls and checks out other girls in front of Cordelia, which I think is
and it's
very
not like at first
cool.
I thought it was just this. It seemed like this cute little crush on Buffy. We were like, oh, it's like innocent and sweet, but it kind of became like an obsession. And you're just like, Xander, just like let it go. Like just be like you say you're okay being friends, be friends, and
yeah, and that he still carries on that crush when he's with Cordelia. It's just kind of like,
and it's not just that crush. And then he like cheats on her with Willow, and
I know, and that's when Cordelia started putting his picture in her locker. Like she really falls for him, and
I love Cordelia, and Cordelia. I love Cordelia.
She's not a fantastic person, but she changes and starts to grow, and then he just does her so wrong. It's
honestly, like, she's way better than he deserves. Like she's so much better. And the way he treated Buffy and Angel, and the end of season 2 where he just didn't tell her that, hey, Willow's trying to save him. Like, no, it was like, go ahead.
Getting his soul back? Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like, go ahead, go kill him. And when you think about that, you're like, wait a second. You just told someone you supposedly care about, whether it be a friend or whatever, to like go kill the love of your life, even though there's a chance that they could be saved. Like, no. Like, I was so really done with him. Yeah, it was super messed up. I was just done with him at that point. I'm like, I can't with you.
Beyond.
Yeah. But But this episode, Xander, it was like the Xander I remember. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I liked you. You're funny and you're charming and all that sort of stuff. Not awful yet.
Not awful yet.
But yeah, in summation, I think this and it's weird because this is actually a be continued episode, so it like goes into the episode 2, which I think is called like something about the harvest. I think it's called the harvest, and I always put them together as one episode.
Yeah,
So
because it's a to be continued.
mhm.
Yeah, and if you can binge watch them, of course you're gonna binge watch the next episode. Like,
You're not gonna
nobody
stop
has
it
to
to be
deal with the
continued.
wait for a week to be continued
When
anymore.
you're binging, you're not stopping it to be continued.
Yeah,
And it's like,
nobody. Thank
and
you, Netflix.
yes, thank you. I don't think it's on Netflix anymore. But yeah, so
No, but
episode
I
1,
mean that Netflix kind of started the whole binging thing.
yes, the whole kind of spoiled us too. So now if there's any like
Yeah.
regular show you like, you're like screwed.
I know.
Or
I
now with
waited to watch
Disney.
The Mandalorian until the whole thing was out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Now that like Disney, which is technically a streaming station, now it's like one episode every week. I'm like, oh my god,
I
I'm back in like high
know.
school. What is this?
I know. What is this? They just don't want people just to like sign up, binge it, and then
Yeah, and then go. Like I'm watching Andor now. I have to wait weeks in between.
I
I'm like, what?
know. Yeah.
No.
Welcome back
So
to
I
the
always put
80s.
those 2 episodes together as season 1, so it's hard for me to give a actual rating on it because to
Mm.
me, episode 1 is those 2. Um,
Are we doing
but
stars or stakes?
oh my god, let's do stakes. Good idea. Let's really vampire this up. So let's say out of
I give it
10
5 out of
stakes.
5 stakes. Bloody
Well, let's do
stakes.
10. Let's try 10 because I think that
Okay.
gives more leeway for, because there's a lot of episodes. So I think with 10
Okay.
stakes, we have a better idea of our true feelings for each episode.
Well, for
Um,
me, I give it 10 out of 10 bloody, beautiful steaks with
stakes.
maybe an angel cross thrown in there because it just has everything that I love in it. It's just
Yeah.
such a good
For
amalgam of
me,
like 80s goodness and hero
it's 90s.
building. Oh,
90s.
90s goodness.
1996 is when it came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, I feel that. For me, welcome to the Hellmouth. And I know you're more lenient with stakes and stars than I am, but
I
I
am.
do give Welcome to the Hellmouth 10 stakes. 10 out of 10
Yeah.
stakes. Just because, like I said, probably one of the best season openers I've ever seen. Like it hooked me
Yeah.
from the beginning. I knew I wanted not only to see the next episode, I wanted to watch the whole season. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
10
Well,
out
that
of 10
about wraps
stakes.
it up for us. 10
Or
bloody
welcome to
steaks.
the Hellmouth. Yeah, let us know if you agree because what your rating would be, what your bloody steak rating would be.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we will hopefully release another episode soon and we will hear from you guys then.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Happy trails.
Have a